WTF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me.
Bombs away. Good morning, and be careful out there. 101 degrees, they say. This will be the hottest September the 21st in the history of Memphis. High is 98. Everybody's saying 101. Wow. But bombs away last night. Aaron Judge gets 260. Albert, who had a couple of hits, none of them left the ballpark. He's still at 698. And I know this happened yesterday after we were off the air, but I have to tip my cap, a big salute to Maury Wills, who passed away at 89, the great Dodgers shortstop on so many good teams, the last guy to have over 100 stolen bases. He had 108 stolen bases in 1 year. I got a feeling that's like the DiMaggio 56-game hitting streak that'll never get broken. That's like, will we ever get another 300-game winner? I don't think so, not with the way the game is played right now. No one will ever get 100 stolen bases in 1 year. And I think only two guys ever stole 100 bases, Ty Cobb and Maury Wills. I think that's it.
Ricky Henderson.
Did he get 100 in 1 year?
He did.
What about Lou Brock? Did Brock ever get 100 in 1 year? Do.
Yeah, 118 and 74.
Brock did.
He did.
118?
118.
That's got to be the most, unless Henderson broke 118.
I think Henderson had 120, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, you could be right. I forgot all about that. Henderson and Brock were going back and forth for a while there.
No one will ever touch those numbers again, though. Nowadays you get. He had 130 in 1982. Ricky
Henderson had 130.
That's insane.
That will never.
Nowadays you steal 30, and people are like, "This guy's a problem. We gotta strategize."
Now, if you're a 40-40 guy, you're a Hall of Fame guy. 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. That's incredible. I mean, 100 stolen bases we'll probably never see again. I forgot all that. 130. When Brock had 118 and Henderson had that one, that's really great stuff. But those are probably the only guys over 400. Cobb, Wills, Henderson, and Brock.
I believe that's right.
So 4 guys. That gets me to this point. Judge gets to 60. Albert's hoping to get to 700. Of course, you got to get to 62 for the American League record. And some people think that's the true record because McGuire and Sosa and Bonds were all part of the steroid era. Now, I think you have to take into account just a little bit that the pitchers were on steroids too, which helped for recovery. So they could pitch harder and faster, longer. So I think that should factor in. But because of that, I heard an argument, and I'll give credit to Tony Kornheiser. He's the guy that was making the case that 60 home runs, because if you discount McGuire, Bonds, and Sosa, it's Babe and Maris. He's the third guy. And really, even if you count those guys, it's 6 guys, right, that have ever been 60 or better.
It's not a bad argument that it's hard to get that number.
Well, he's a New York guy, right? And so to him, he remembers as a kid the Maris chase and getting to 60 was a little bit like Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. I mean, it was an event. It was one thing, single season, hard to do. Only 2 guys had ever done it. And if he gets to 62, he breaks Maris's record. And they both were 162-game seasons. Now, take into account, I don't think he's taking any juice, but the ball, some people say, like Tim Doolin did the other day, ball's harder. Easier to hit home runs. I don't know. I certainly am not going to go into that argument. I still think the greater achievement is 700 Because even though it's incredible, we know only 6 guys, and we're saying only 3 really count if we're taking away the steroid era. 3 guys got 60 in 1 year in all the years of Major League Baseball. But in all the years of Major League Baseball, only Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, and Henry Aaron had 700 home runs. If Albert makes it, he becomes the 4th. And if you want to use that argument that you are for 60 with Bonds and total home runs, then only 3 guys legitimately ever get to that 700 number. I think that is the bigger number. They're both incredible. What a year that is for baseball that we're doing that. And we've got all these super teams, and these playoffs are going to be great. I really believe it. And I think baseball's making the right moves with taking a pitch clock in there. And I don't know about the bigger bases, but I don't really care.
Everybody on the infield.
The shift thing, I'm torn with that. I'll be honest with you.
Me too.
I know they want more offense.
Just hit the ball the other way. I don't
understand.
Exactly.
You're a major league player. You can't hit the other way. That to me is you know what else is ridiculous is the starting of the player on second base in extra innings, and no one knows how to bunt.
That's the same thing with the shift. Is just you could bunt it too if you don't want to hit it the other way.
Exactly. I don't understand that. Learn how to play the game by the rules. But anyway,
I think the argument one way or the other, it's kind of like to use an analogy you said it to me earlier, it's kind of like whether you value the sprint or the marathon in that regard, which one is more impressive. I guess you said, running the mile quickly, but regardless, I think that even one thing that occurred to me when you were talking about what's more impressive, this or that, one guy that did both is Barry Bonds.
Right.
And it's incredible that guy's not going to be in the Hall of Fame because he not only could hit 70 in a season, but did it for umpteen years and has the most home runs ever.
Well, the thing for me with Barry Bonds, honestly, and I've said this a million times, he really belongs in the Hall because he had numbers to get into the Hall before he started juicing.
That's exactly right.
But there is no doubt that he hit those, 73 in 1 year? That's the record,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, he hit those 73. There's no question he was juicing. No question. But he was facing juice pitchers.
And like you said, it's hard to. That's just such a hard comparison to make, pitchers versus hitters. Which one utilize steroids more? Because, like you said, the pitchers are using it for recovery, but that does mean you can be out there longer, more days. And if you're a good pitcher,
wait a second, your arm doesn't get tired as quick.
That's right.
You can be more effective in the later innings than you would have been if you hadn't done it.
And there was plenty of guys that were juicing, none of which hit 73 home runs or 750 home runs for their career. It's still a remarkable achievement.
No, it's great for baseball that we have this debate. What's better, Aaron Judge getting to 60 or Albert Pujols hopefully getting to 700?
It allows it to be discussed forever.
Yeah, it does.
So far after it happened.
Aaron Judge seems to be a pretty good guy. I know Albert is a terrific person. And I'm happy for the game, and I'm happy for both those guys. And Aaron Judge is a guy that really bet on himself. And now, like you're reading on Twitter, if Brian Cashman doesn't sign to a long-term major deal, Aaron Judge, he'll lose his job.
Maybe deservingly so. I mean, you think about if you sign the guy, great. It's great to keep him around. But think about how much money you cost your franchise to sign somebody else by not locking him up before the season.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, and Aaron Judge bet on himself.
That's
too, right. He said,
and
"Okay,
he should have.
I'm not taking that money. I'm going to see what I do this year." And now he's got a Triple Crown kind of year. And he just broke, or he's about to break, the American League record for home runs in a single season, and doing it without any kind of PEDs. It's really great stuff, that is for sure. We got a busy show today. We'll be joined by Brett Norsworthy from Sports Time at 3 to 5 with Gabe and with Stats. Brett will join us as he always does. We'll talk Ole Miss. I'm going to ask him this, so if he's listening. How many times has the Ole Miss opposition — we can talk about Lane Kiffin's offense and everything — I'd like to know how many times this year has the Ole Miss opposition passed midfield? Serious.
You're right. Troy scored, 3 points or something like that? Then they beat up on Central Arkansas, beat up on Georgia Tech. They can't get past midfield.
Georgia Tech, what did they had 3 points? Or no, they got shut out, right?
I believe they shut out, yeah.
I'm curious. I don't really know the answer, but I bet Brett Norsworthy will. And then we got a special thing because the President's Cup starts tomorrow at Quail Hollow, which is a gorgeous golf course. They've rerouted it a little bit.
Really? Legendary course, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they were one of the few that started to really pamper players to get them to come, and they would take their wives on a shopping spree. So once the wives heard about that, they're going to their husbands, "You're playing that tournament." I mean, that was smart. And they would actually get them in a charter airplane and take them somewhere to shop. It was incredible. What beautiful thinking there. So we will talk with Bob Stevens, who used to be with PGA Tour Radio and is still very much involved in the Harbortown area in golf. And so we'll get his take on the President's Cup. The United States has never lost at home.
I saw a picture yesterday. It's kind of scary. So if they pair Tom Kim and Sunjay M together, Sunjay M put a little picture, just like a kid in a candy store, on his Instagram saying, "with two legends," and he took a picture with Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, which kind of tells you how young Sunjay M is. But still, I think it's going to be an exciting week.
Well, Kim is younger than him.
That's right.
Im and Kim together.
It's a good
You'll probably play the two Canadians, Corey Connor and Taylor Pendrith together. That's what I would do if I was Trevor Immelman. I'd take the guys that grew up together, play together, and this is smart of the Americans, and we'll talk with Bob Stevens about this. Traditionally, like in the Ryder Cup, the Europeans are really good at alternate ball, which, that's called foursomes. Best ball. That's just you play your own ball and you take the best score. But the foursomes is when you hit a shot and then your partner has to hit the next shot. So it's up to you to hit a good shot, right? Really a lot of pressure. And in history, the world team has been really bad at that because they don't do it. They don't, around the world, that is not that big of a popular format. Whereas, kids growing up in America playing the Walker Cup, and we are into the Ryder Cup, so you're going to play it then. You do have the one team event on the PGA Tour. That they don't play alternate on that, though.
No, I think that's best ball as well.
That's all best ball, I'm pretty sure. But Ryder Cup teams do. They play a lot as kids in that format. So they know they're good at it. And I think Trevor Immelman told his guys, if you're practicing together, practice alternate ball. And the United States knows they're not very good at it, so that's the first thing they're doing. They've decided that is what they're doing on Thursday, 5 matches of foursome.
I'm so excited for competitive golf. I know they've played golf a couple of weeks here, but this is different. This is different level. President's Cup is always exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be great. The Americans have never lost at home. They've won 11 of the 13 that have been played.
Ooh. That's good for gamblers there.
And the American rank, they have 5 of the top 10 in the world. Their average rank is 11 point something. And there's no top 15. The top guy is 17th in the world, which is Hideki.
But Tom Kim and Sunjay, the international team has some players that I'm really excited about. You mentioned Pendrith. I love Taylor Pendrith.
But here's who they've lost. They would have had, and how much different would this be if they had Cam Smith, Joaquin Niemann, Abraham Answer, Louis Oosthuizen, Mark Leishman, your guy, Anabran Lahiri. If they had those guys, I'd give them a little bit better chance.
Certainly.
But I would play the country guys together, like the Canadians, the Koreans. Their best guy is 17. You know what their average ranking is? 48 point something.
Really?
Yeah, 11 point something to 48 point something.
Well, you get a chance to put on the map a little bit this week. President's Cup is big. Watching television around. I know you're competing with football now, but people eat up the President's Cup every time it's on.
Oh yeah, I will.
Me too.
I will watch it. It's not going to stack up to the NFL.
But you got Thursday night. But Thursday during the day, Friday during the day. That's the sports on TV.
Absolutely. And I'm doing a football game Saturday, so I won't watch any Saturday. Sunday, I'll probably watch that over some of the NFL.
Coming down the stretch.
Like normally I would go to a sports bar because I'm too cheap to get the ticket. unless the Bears are on in the market, and I go watch the Bears. I'll skip them, especially after what the way the Packers roughed them up, being the disappointed, disgruntled fan, leaving Chicago for Arlington Heights, never haven't put a good team together in a while. But the truth is, this combination that they got going right now they're getting better. They are getting better. But I'm watching President's Cup. You know what though? Here's the bad thing. It might not mean anything by that time. Well, when you get to the 12 singles.
It could be over at that point, you're right.
It could be, because this is a stacked team against a depleted team, that is for sure. What we love to do, we'll do it in a second, is we will give you the inane things the NFL coaches and players say after football games, win or lose. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studio, 30% off in-stock spas, huge discounts on the swim spas. There's special financing available, and there are some free upgrades on select spas. It's the world's biggest spa sale. It's going on right now, I-40 and Whidden Road at Family Leisure. Our title sponsor, that's Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai. You can get 3.9% financing on a Tucson, on a Santa Fe. The best cars, I think, made are those Hyundais and Genesis cars. You never pay more than sticker price. And at this point, with that financing on a Tucson and on a Santa Fe, you can get $500 off. They're really making things happen at Craft Road and Highway 78. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai, always taking care of you. And we should let everybody know, even with this heat, start thinking fall, right? It's going to get nippy. I promise you. It was last week for a little bit. You got to start thinking about your heating system, carbon monoxide testing, and right now there's the early bird special, and you can tell with 101 degrees today it's really early bird, but that's the way Conway is trying to stay ahead of the game. So if you go to Conway Services right now, call 384-3511 and get that early bird special. That $69 super tune-up is down to $49. That includes the cleaning of the outside, 16-point tune-up inside. You'll save money on your energy bill. Your system will last longer. 384-3511. Get the early bird on your heating system. $20 off, down to $49. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Andy Reid, Jameis Winston, Todd Bowles, Tom Brady. We got it all as JMO presents the compilation we love to do every week. It's the inane things coaches and players say in the NFL.
As quarterbacks, it's like being a farmer, right? The work's never over. You just keep working on something.
When the emotions get to flaring, though they're humans.
Every now and then the game gets emotional.
It's an emotional game. We have emotions, they have emotions.
Just emotion. It's an emotional game.
It's an emotional game.
It's an emotional game.
There's one week you can be on top of the mountain, and the next you fall right off.
That to me is how you get over the hump, is you just freaking push over the hump.
I was booing myself.
We'll take our medicine for the pathetic performance today.
We grinded it out.
That's what they do. They just keep grinding on you.
Our guys, just kept banging away. And we'll take our medicine. I'll take my medicine.
We caught it and fell down, and I'm like, all right, first down, great, good job. And then just toot, 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 and that's what he can do. That's what he can do, man.
The sun's gonna come up tomorrow, and I think the guys understand that.
That's why you put the weight on the weighty downs or the situational moments. They made more splash plays in them circumstances than we did.
It was a typical kind of AFC North game. We hurt them with plays, they hurt us with plays. In the end, they made more plays.
Not enough splash, particularly in the weighty moments.
I like the shotgun. I like under center too.
He's a very friendly target.
He's a pit bull that plays receiver.
He's an elite competitor. He's a big-time player, a prime-time player.
Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games.
When it comes to one-trick ponies, I am kind of a one-trick pony.
He's got a beautiful mind, man.
And he has the right birthday. His birthday is September 17th, so I think that works well for him too.
The reality of the National Football League is the game is never over until it's over.
It's not fantasy football. We're just trying to win.
Especially in this league, this game is a game of inches.
It's very rewarding when you watch your football team don't blink.
The one thing I'm never gonna blink.
Those guys don't blink.
I want these guys to be eyes up.
He never blinks.
We're going to have our eyes up. We're going to move forward the right way.
It's a 60-minute game, and you just got to take them one play at a time. And one thing I learned a long time ago is you never get too high and you never get too low. It's a 60-minute football game.
There's a lot in the pro football game when you got two good teams that are
Swinging.
There's good, there's not good, and that's just how it stands.
The object of the game is to have one more point at the end.
Points are good. Moving the ball is good, but you obviously want points 3 or 7.
And unless they tell me that you get more points for being able to win by more points, I don't really care. We found a way to be able to get it done, and that's how I know I'm maturing. Because I would have been grumpy before on this thing, but holy hell, I need a couple drinks, Steve.
That was Sean McVay. I like that. The guy that said, heck, I was booing myself, that was Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Of the new coaches, I think he's the one getting questioned the most. It's Tua who said big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and Tua sure did. And now let's see what he does with the Buffalo Bills when they take on Miami. That's probably the big game. And then there's Aaron Rodgers, the old curmudgeon, who says, when it comes to one-trick ponies, I'm kind of a one-trick pony. Which is what, beating the Bears? Is that your trick?
I guess so. It was a question about, is he in charge of the celebration? He goes, I'm not in charge of the celebration. I'm a one-trick pony, so whatever. Whatever that means.
Good stuff, that is for sure. We do it every week. J-Mo puts it together. It is what these crazy guys say. I love the themes about the blinking or, getting over the hump or all the other cliches that are used, and they all use them. I mean, you can only describe winning or losing in so many different ways, and that's basically what we get every single week. This portion of our show is brought to you by what the doctor orders. I'm talking Poppy's Pills, that Pilsner that comes your way from Grind City Brewing. Man, it's good stuff. It's refreshing, and you need it when it's 101 degrees. Ultra crushable, that's what my kids like to say. This is the Pilsner that's made right here in Memphis. It comes from Grind City. You can get it in 6-packs. You can get it in 15 packs. Whatever your heart desires, ladies and gentlemen, you can get it anywhere. Go to see my friends at the Spirit Shop. They carry all the local IPAs, but they really love Poppy's Pills. It's great to have a local brewery that's going to take care of you, and they do. So if you're mowing your lawn today, playing golf, cleaning your pool, when you're done in 101 degrees and you want something that will quench your thirst, get what the doctor ordered. Get the Pilsner from Grind City, Poppy's Pills. We'll pause for 1 second. When we come back, Brett Norsworthy from Gabe and Stats Sports Time in the afternoon on the SEC and college football. He comes your way in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
What do you mean your emergency ribs?
I always have a backup rack.
Just in case.
Exactly, you get it.
No.
I can't always get to Central Barbecue when I have a rib fix.
Like, say, when you're on the air.
You so get me. Imagine I'm on the air, suddenly I have a rib crave. As soon as I go to commercial, I can grab the Central Barbecue backup rack.
And you keep them...
in my briefcase.
That's what's in that briefcase?
That and usually some Central Barbecue slaw. That's pretty much it.
Not, say, show prep?
Nah, I don't want to get sauce on that.
O'Reilly. Improve fuel mileage with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system can increase your vehicle's performance and gas mileage. Get Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner starting at $9.99 and earn 10 times O rewards points on your purchase. Get the most out of every gallon. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop O'ReillyAuto.com today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofing.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
The Tigers, by the way, are 12-point favorites over North Texas. Ole Miss 22 at home against Tulsa. Tennessee 10.5 over Florida in a sellout at Neyland. You know, the Gators have won 16 of the last 17, but I do think Tennessee is going to take care of business. All these lines, you know, if you're involved, and so many of you are, you need a sports book that you know has integrity, longevity. You know you're going to get paid. I got the place for you. It's BetUS.com. 28 years in the NFL, the best sign-up bonus that there is, 200%. And you will get not just the NFL or the NBA and Major League Baseball. They got a lot more. They got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots. They got live dealers waiting for you at tables. All you got to do is sign up. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, or you go to BetUS.com. Now, if you go, and you'll love these people. They're so friendly. And, again, they've got integrity. They've been around 28 years. You will go to BetUS.com. Make sure you use the promo code. We all win that way. It's Sports 56 Radio. Sports 56 Radio. BetUS. That's where the game begins. Brett Norsworthy, 22 points. That is pretty amazing. I think we all knew Ole Miss would be 3-0 when this Tulsa game was coming around. I don't think we knew they would be as dominating as they are, especially on defense. We knew the offense was going to be terrific. Tell me, how many times has the opposition gotten across midfield on the Rebs?
Not very many, Dave, except for kind of a late stand-in there, fourth down, touchdown pass by the Troy quarterback on opening day. It has not been anything close to deep penetration for the opposing team, and the Ole Miss defense, it has played well. I told Saturday after the game, visiting with Coach Lane Kiffin, I said, this was a 42-0 effort your dad would be really proud of, Coach Monty Kiffin, with the defensive performance and an offensive performance that Joe Gibbs and Chuck Knox would have loved.
Man,
because it was pound and ground and keep on running, and a fresh back in there all day. Dave, the SMU transfer Ulysses Bentley, he's third. He has trouble getting on the field, but every time he does, he contributes. He probably has the best first step of those three running backs, but what Zach Evans is already doing, and I'm not saying he's this player. I'm just, for comparison, I'm watching the Monday night football game, and he very much runs in the style of the Vikings running back, Dalvin Cook, the great Florida State player. And Dalvin Cook is a very patient runner, very similar, had D'Angelo Williams. And D'Angelo learned it running that trap in high school for Don Campbell for the Win Yellow Jackets. And you have to be patient doing that. And Evans is very much like Cook and D'Angelo in his patience. And then when he has a chance to cut back, he's gone. He's going to get through that second level, and then the secondary they don't want anything to do with him.
Is the run game, is that the biggest surprise to you about the Rebels' success?
I'm not surprised by it, Dave. I think the biggest surprise is the push of the defensive line. And I know the opening week I said to you that some longtime Ole Miss observers were talking about the depth in the defensive line. And, Dave, both of us, we've heard kind of that August happy talk through the years, and then sometimes that doesn't really play out. I think it's playing out. Now, bear in mind, Troy, Central Arkansas, and Georgia Tech. This will be the first real test for the defensive line in trying to get to the Tulsa quarterback, the number one passing quarterback in the country. And Tulsa's but an overtime loss from being undefeated themselves. So this will be the best test so far, and then the tests really start the following week with Kentucky coming to Oxford, and that game being announced as 11 a.m. kickoff.
Were you surprised at Georgia Tech's inability to move the ball at all?
I wasn't. I watched them Labor Day night mostly struggle with Clemson.
Yeah, except early.
At times, except early, and they wore down, and it's just not very creative. It's pretty flat. I heard John Thompson visit with you, and they dubbed the Georgia Tech campus the Flats, and it's pretty flat right now at the Flats. I don't know how Jeff Collins can survive this, and I'm afraid, Dave, with a less than spectacular year in hoops that Josh Pastner, it could be the full house cleaning. It could be AD, men's basketball, football, because Georgia Tech has plenty of money, and they're in the ACC. They can't fold them. They've got to keep trying, and we know they can in both sports. But it's been tough on both primary sports coming out of COVID. But that example, that reason, I won't say excuse. I think it's been pretty viable, but that's wearing thin.
Is this Josh's 6th or 7th year in Atlanta?
This is Josh's 6th.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
or is it 7? Help me, Jay Morgan.
Look that up.
He's had a good run. He always kind of has, kind of deathbed conversion, that Lazarus act that he can pull, and he's had his share of bad luck. But I both need a big year because the fans are really grumbling. There were a lot of empty seats, and it's hard in the old analogy. It's hard to get on the front page of the newspaper sports page right now in Atlanta.
It's only his 4th year at Georgia Tech, 6 years as head coach, 2 years at Temple. He started there in 2019.
What?
No, you're talking Collins. We're talking Josh Pastner.
Oh, you said Josh. Yeah. That's my fault.
Yeah, no problem.
That's all right. It happens.
Yeah. So you're going to give us the early scouting on Tulsa. That quarterback is pretty good.
He's very good. That receiving core is very good. That offensive line is very good. And that coach, Philip Montgomery, and a little bit like Jeff Collins, a little bit like Josh in basketball at Georgia Tech. He's just been kind of trying to find his way. They've stayed pretty patient. He got them to a AAC championship game
last
COVID year. Is that right? Yeah, the COVID year, last year, right? And then they had the bowl game. They had the brawl at the end of the game with State.
Right.
So he's done enough. And Dave, both in football and basketball, and you know how much I love Tulsa, the city, and as a sports town. I've said many times, I think it's the best small sports town in the country. And you talking about competitive to get on the front page of the sports page, it is there because it has that Big 12 influence.
Right.
It has a pro influence. It has a Razorbacks influence. I mean, they kind of get it all. But Philip Montgomery and the Golden Hurricane, they've stayed pretty square. They've stayed competitive, and we know that even with their graduate students, only 3,700 enrollment. Just a really small school, but in a great sports town, and they always stay very viable. I think that this will be the best test for Ole Miss, and it's needed.
That student-teacher ratio, they put those in their game notes usually. It's like 6-1. It's incredible. It's a small school.
You can't help it.
It costs a lot of money to go. And
it does. It's a great engineering school.
Yeah, and here is the one thing Philip Montgomery's had throughout all the years that he's been their coach. They have always had good offensive lines. So that's part of the reason why that quarterback has been so darn successful.
And we talked O-lines yesterday when you joined us, and that is I think that's the preseason thing you have to have. Phil Steele's holy grail is number of starts, whether and now in the portal, whether it's for you or somewhere else. And if you're good in the offensive line, it gives you more than a fighting chance. Ole Miss is really good in the offensive line, but good in the offensive line, and it saved them Saturday. It was Arkansas. That was a big win for the Razorbacks over Bobby Petrino and Missouri State, FCS, because, Dave, in your third year, you lose to an FCS team, that is crippling. It almost would have been fatal to Sam Pittman of blowing the hard work of the first 2 years, not only to lose to an FCS opponent, but to lose to him.
Yeah. Well, I feel that way about any game he coaches. People forget Louisville brought him back, and he was a bomb there. So, they glow about him because he is having somewhat of a comeback with Missouri State, but I still remember a few pitfalls, and of course the famous neck brace, which the kids, by the way, some of them brought to the game. But he did give him.
I think it's the number one Halloween outfit around the SEC for students is to go as Bobby Petrino with that neck brace, that hat, and those bruises. And I'm told this, no orthopedist am I, but I'm told this. If you look at that video, the neck brace is on inside out. It was just a prop.
That is too much. A&M's the favorite with Arkansas. It is in College Station. You think Arkansas wins that game?
I do, Dave. I had it in the preseason,
too.
Even when everybody had A&M much more ballyhooed than this. I could very well eat these words. Become 10 o'clock Saturday night. I think Sam Pittman outcoaches Jimbo Fisher every single time they run into each other. I think Lane Kiffin will every single time. I think most will. I don't think he's great on game day, and I don't think he has a great quarterback. Now, he did make the switch to Max Johnson, son of Brad Johnson, if you wanted to feel really old today, Dave. And he's made that switch, and he had to. I mean, he just couldn't. He could not endure one more Haynes King interception and what would rain down on him at Kyle Field. They were fortunate to beat the U. The U is not back. And A&M, they were able to kind of grind that one out 17-9. But I think Arkansas takes care of A&M, and they do it with a whole lot of Rocket Sanders and a whole lot of K.J. Jefferson and that offensive line. Now, the Razorback secondary is as depleted as it can be. It's 14th out of 14 in passing yardage allowed, in passing defense, and not very good overall out of the FBS 131. And the injury opening day to Jalen Catalon, it was the defensive equivalent of losing K.J. Jefferson.
I still think they have enough, I'm with you, to get past A&M. I was surprised that Mississippi State, especially with the lead they had, lost to LSU. Brian Kelly's teams apparently get better as time goes on. They did at Notre Dame a bunch of times. I'm a little surprised, though, that Leach's offense basically shut down in the second half.
He had it going. I mean, had that game going, really kind of had it in that comfort zone, and it really changed on the Austin Williams fumble punt return. That flipped the momentum, and from that point on, I thought Brian Kelly got the best of the Pirate, and Mike Leach kind of made it worse. Had the knot in the shoe and just kept messing with it, with going for it unsuccessfully on fourth down. Look, I know a coach likes to go for it on fourth down a lot, and you're out there living on that high wire act when they do it. When it works, it's bold and daring. When it doesn't, what are you thinking of? Play the percentages.
Right, exactly. But he definitely has the courage to stick by his analytics, no doubt about that. It backfired for sure in that game.
We touched on analytics yesterday, talking about the big three sports that we primarily talk about on these airways: football, basketball, baseball. And we agreed that in football, it is the less analytically driven sport right now. But they're on the way, Dave. Those guys and those analysts and all those people that you really kind of wonder what they do, they're in there grinding away, and they're doing these charts, and they're coming up with formulaically with this conversion and when to go for it and when not. So we're seeing the ever so slight encroachment of analytics, and once they get a toehold, we saw what they did with baseball, and we see what it's doing with basketball. And the biggest thing on the NBA level is on the rest, with the sleep doctors and the rest doctors and the performance people. But it's slowly coming to football. I hope it doesn't take over.
When they get one for line versus line, then I might buy it. That's because it comes down to the physicality of the game.
Well, that's eye test, and that's whoop or get whoop.
Yeah. All right, last thing, Tennessee, Florida. The Gators have had the best of the Vols over the last few years, 16 of the last 17. That's pretty dominant. But here's Josh Heupel, and here's this system, and here's Hendon Hooker, and here's a prolific offense, and it's going to be in Knoxville. Hell, they had 63,000 for or 103,000 for Akron. It's going to be crazy in Neyland on Saturday.
It's going to feel like old times on Neyland. I thought all summer that it could, and it will, but Florida's not really holding up their end of the bargain. Florida's very average. Look back now, and most fortunate to lucky to win opening night against Utah. And Anthony Richardson just doesn't scare anybody with his passing game. And the Volunteer defense, while not the strong suit by any means of the team, it will be enough to hold him down. In 1990, in Steve Spurrier's very first matchup as Gators head coach against Tennessee, lost 45-3. I don't know that Tennessee beats Florida that bad this week, but I think it's a lot of a lot of pressure relieved by the Tennessee fans and a lot of payback this week with Tennessee really putting one on Florida. And then for the Vols, open date and back-to-back weeks to Baton Rouge and Bama in Knoxville. And that will tell us exactly whether this is a pretty good team. It might go to, Citrus Gator or something like that, or a really good team that might go to Sugar or beyond.
We'll see, and it'll start this weekend in Neyland. As always, my friend, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday on your show. You'll be back here next week with us.
You got it, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. This portion of the show brought to you by Dinstall's. Becky Dinstall reminded me it's caramel apple season. Caramel corn, too, if you like that. I love caramel corn. But I love those caramel apples because I will tell you, Dinstall's, I think, has the best caramel. They do. They just – and you, by the way, can get all kinds of different things. You can get caramel with pecan. You can get caramel pecan and their famous milk chocolate. That's the turtlet apple. You can now get a cashew crunch apple. Caramel with the cashew crunch. Oh, my gosh. That is amazing. And you got 5 different Dinstall locations. Where they make it on Pleasant View, the ones in Collierville and Germantown in the suburbs, now one downtown, and the one in my neck of the woods, Laurelwood. 5 places to get the sweetest thing. The brand for sweets in Memphis and the Mid-South, it's Dinstall's for over 120 years. And speaking of sweet things, and I need to get out there. I haven't been out there in a while. I got to go and see my guys and play that golf course at Miramichi, just north, about 12 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. There's no better place than Miramichi. We're talking 330 acres of beauty, 7,400 yards of championship golf. I played at 6,300. You can play it up to 5,000, whatever your level is. And if you want to get better and up that level, they got the best practice facilities in every round of golf. And if you go to play today and you're a senior, you play for $33. It all includes the cart and all the golf balls that you can hit on the range. And again, those practice facilities are amazing. Then afterwards, a beer on the terrace. Can't beat it. It's the best view in all of Shelby County, 9 and 18, and sky and lakes and ponds. It's gorgeous. And full-screen TVs and a full-service bar. It's the best place to watch football on a cooler weekend afternoon. Can't beat it. It's the whole package. It's Miramichi. When we come back, more golf. The President's Cup with Bob Stevens from PGA Tour Radio in the past. He's in the present in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Stay ahead of fall hiring needs with Indeed. Their end-to-end platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Need, want, dream about a new ride? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 2023 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive super new SUV. Only $257 a month, 36-month lease, $29.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury and performance? 2023 Kia K5 LXS sedan. We got it at $293 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. If you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today. Plus, Gossett Kias come equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
$650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Seltos P 738 6423, MSRP 25325, K5 950 6883, MSRP 26860. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/2022. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
The President Cup starts tomorrow. It gives us a chance to chat with an old friend who used to be part of the PGA Tour Radio Network, still involved in golf in the Hilton Head area, which isn't that far, kind of the neighborhood of Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Good morning, Bob Stevens. Are you ready for, I don't know if we can really call it a showdown, but it's always fun, the President's Cup.
Hey, Dave, it's golf. Any of us who have played golf know that it could well be a showdown. I think things will end up closer than it looks like on paper. You know, because you play golf with sand wedges, not with paper.
That's true. That's true. But when you look at the rankings, the Americans have 5 of the top 10, and their average rank is 11-something. Where Trevor Immelman's team, because of the loss of guys like Cam Smith, Joaquin Neiman, Abraham Answer, Louis Oosthuizen, Mark Leishman, Anubran Lahiri, you know, they're best guy is 17th in the world in Hideki Matsuyama, which it's amazing. He's 17. I would have thought he's higher. But their average rank is 48-something. So, like you say, on paper, but they do play the game, these guys, and they do get world rankings for a reason. It sure seems like it's David versus Goliath here.
Sure. I mean, that will make it fun to watch to see if David can make it close, make it interesting. I fully expect it to be really, really entertaining because it is supposed to be so lopsided. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Not that I am not predicting them to win.
No,
okay, but
I got that.
But I think it's going to be closer than the experts. The experts that I mean, we have experts pick people to win golf tournaments all the time. Have you ever gotten one right? I never have.
I have.
Have you?
I didn't get that many this year, but yes, okay. I have. There was one week I picked like 3 in a row, believe it or not.
Wow.
So we pick a couple of guys every week. We do usually a lock and a shock. So it can happen. It can happen. But here's my question for you.
Yeah.
If those guys that I mentioned already that departed for the Live Tour that would have been, I think every one of those guys would have been on Trevor Immelman's team.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been a better fight? I mean, let's face it. This is the 14th Cup, right? 11 of them have gone to America. 11 of the 13. They've never
1-1. Yeah.
And
that might qualify for the college football play. You could probably make the Final Four there with
even if you were
11-1.
Even if you were in the group of 5, you might have made that.
There you go.
They've never lost away from the United States. 7-0, perfect here. They've won 8 in a row. I mean, with those guys, would you have given the world a chance?
Oh, sure. I mean, I just remember back to the last one where it was interesting into the final day. The Americans finally pulled away in the singles matches, but they were right there. And it's golf. I think it's going to be fun to watch, especially some of the young Americans who have not played before. You know, we got a bunch of rookies playing too.
6 of them. Yeah, half the team.
So I think it's going to be. That's why I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of different names, a lot of different kind of matchups, different personalities involved. Looking forward to it.
What is sort of interesting to me is you mentioned all these newcomers, like names you wouldn't think that have never played, like Billy Horschel for one. Never played in a Ryder Cup or in a President's Cup. I don't think Scotty Scheffler has.
You think Billy Horschel's not going to be wound up?
Oh yeah. Cam Young, he's Kevin Kisner. I don't believe has ever played on a USA team in the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup.
All he ever does is win the match play all the time.
That's right.
Which is, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't that what we're playing?
Max Homa is another rookie, and he's just coming off a victory.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I just, Homa's a great character. You mentioned, we mentioned Horschel. Some of these guys that are going to be, you're going to see a little different side of some of these guys. And you're going to see Kisner a little more than you're used to seeing. A little more emotion out of him, I think. Let's go back. Kisner actually has played, by the way. He was 2-0-2.
Okay.
So, in other words, he's never been beaten. He was 2-0-2 in the last President's Cup.
The veterans here are Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. That's how quickly time goes by, right?
Wow, isn't that something? We were all worried about them being kids not very long ago. And, they're going to be the big veterans. And, Tony Finau, who we didn't think was, ever going to make a team and have a chance to do this is going to be I'm excited to watch him. Curious to see who gets all matched up together.
That's where I was going to go next.
Okay.
We were talking earlier, the world team, you would think you would put the Koreans together, so you'd have Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim.
Right.
You'd put the Canadians together, Corey Connors, Taylor Pendrith. I don't know who you put with Hideki, but you probably put somebody that
if I'm one
young.
of their players, I raise my hand and say I'll play with Hideki.
Right. Yeah, you would put younger guys with Hideki and Adam Scott, I would guess. Who do you think the Americans will put together?
Well, we've got a couple of teams now that have turned out to be really good together. I'm trying to remember who it is we put with Cantlay and
Xander. They won New Orleans this year in that team event. They're a good team.
So they'll be together, and I would imagine Spieth and Justin will probably be together. And I just
who would you put?
I've
Scotty?
been watching Golf Channel this morning. They've got Max Homa is playing together with Finau, so that makes sense.
I like that. Who would you put Scotty Scheffler with?
Anybody he wants.
How about Morikawa? That might be a good one.
He could be huge. He could be really, really good. I think Scheffler, his demeanor is just perfect for this. And I'm going to put him with Schauffele. That might work. Lots of great opportunity for to get creative, try some new stuff, because we're going to see a whole bunch of these guys, next at the Ryder Cup in 2 years in Italy, and this might be the chance to maybe put some of that together.
Davis Love, I thought was brilliant here. Alternate shot is hardly ever played by the world team, and of course the Europeans play it a bunch, and the Americans play it. That's the one they're starting off tomorrow with. I think that was really smart of Davis.
Sure. Get some guys out there. I like the President's Cup format much better than the Ryder Cup format because you've got more matches. What are these guys here to do? Let's play. And the Ryder Cup, I think we only have 4 matches at a time, and there are 5 with the President's Cup.
Right.
So very few. You don't sit. Well, why don't we get these guys together? We didn't get them together to sit. Let's play more matches.
So you're playing 5 alternate shot tomorrow, then best ball, 5 matches on Friday. Then I think you play both on Saturday, don't you? Is that 10 matches?
I think so. You go morning and afternoon, and
right.
So that you can do. So you end up with 2 sessions of each, and then then Sunday
12
Sunday
singles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's going to end up being the star for the American team? Who's going to be the
Ooh,
world star when it's all said and done on Sunday afternoon?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I may have mentioned, I think Scheffler's going to be really, really good at this. I think he's going to take command. He had that kind of year. And, you had some experience with Tom Kim,
in Memphis.
This year, yeah. I like his game, and I like his demeanor, and I think I don't think any of the Americans are going to say, "Let me play against him." I think he's going to be a bulldog for the international team.
I think he's going to be the next big star.
Yeah, I think he is.
I mean,
yep.
Cam Smith would have been the star. I think Tom Kim is going to be the guy. What was he when he won right before he got to Memphis? To get to Memphis, how old is he? 19?
Yeah, I think he's 20 now. Yeah, he still can't rent a car.
You got to be 25 to rent a car, right? Yeah, crazy.
He can buy the car, he just can't rent one.
There you go. He'll buy one in every market the way things are going.
Yeah, there you go.
Bob Stevens, it's always great to hear your melodious voice. We will talk to you again soon, maybe right before the Masters anyway. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Or how about that? Does Tulsa play Memphis this year?
Tulsa does. Tulsa's actually in the market on Saturday. They're playing.
Yeah, they're playing Memphis.
They're playing Ole Miss.
Yeah. Watch out! Watch out! Tulsa's got the number one passing combination in the country.
They do.
Number one thrower, number 3 catcher. I guess it could be fun.
What is your connection with Tulsa, if you don't mind me asking?
I went there.
I didn't realize. I didn't know you were that smart. Holy cow!
Oh, yeah. They let me in. They let me in. They threw me out, but they let me in. And then I went to school with Nancy Lopez. That's part of the golf thing. And
wow, that's great. I never knew that part either. Well, we'll talk about that the next time. I'm out of time. Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care.
You got it. That's Bob Stevens. Still heavily involved in golf in the Harbortown area. Used to be with PGA Tour Radio. Great voice, that is for sure. And this final portion of the show brought to you by the best place I can think of at the moment when it comes to senior care. It's called AmeriCare. And AmeriCare, which began in our neck of the woods, it began in 1981 in Sikeston, Missouri. Family-owned and operated. Now there's 133 places, but they have 3 in Memphis that I urge you to go check out. They are South Breeze, which is on Hacks Cross Road in Memphis. In Collierville, it's Schilling Gardens. In Olive Branch, it's the Olive Grove Terrace right there on Goodman Road. It's all about wellness. Everybody talks about exercise, food. There's something for seniors to being comfortable and staying at a place that you consider home, wellness. And that is what AmeriCare specializes in. It's games and company in the afternoons. It's having somebody to talk to on a regular basis at mealtime. It's wellness. And they work really hard at all the AmeriCare facilities to accomplish that. If you would like to check them out, I urge you to go over to South Breeze on Hacks Cross, Schilling Gardens in Collierville, or Olive Grove Terrace, and you'll see what it's like. It's the way senior assisted living and memory care should be done. That does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Johnny Radio's next. I often